Set condition 1 throughout the ship. I repeat, set condition 1 throughout the ship. Good morning. Welcome to your tech news. I'm Fab from Hamburg, where it's so bright. I had to put the blinds down. It's like really, really bright. I don't know what the hell is going on here. It's supposed to be rainy. Anyway, let's get into the tech news. First off, I can announce that dental alert has been averted. I did not destroy my teeth on yesterday's stream, so that's a bonus. Coffee, of course. Good morning, everybody. Let's talk about tech. What do we got on the docket today? We got the EU copyright reform is drawing criticism from pretty much everybody. It's drawing criticisms from Google, which is not surprising because it's basically the anti-YouTube law. But interestingly, also the Hollywood industry, the movie industry in the US is also criticizing the law, but for completely different reasons. Basically, they think it's too lax, and it's basically they're saying it's gonna make the make it easier, like make the status quo easier on the platforms. I mean, just to quickly recap, the main thrust of this law is that platforms that host user-generated content will be responsible for that content. And yeah, they're basically saying, well, it's gonna have blanket licenses, and that's gonna be an end to like exclusive deals, and we like exclusive deals so much, kind of like the Epic Store, you know, or something just being on one streaming service, stuff like that. And they're now calling this a value gap, and yeah, they want even more money. You can't please anybody these days. I just love that everybody's criticizing this now. Like even the guys the law was made for. It's hilarious. In the UK, we have news that the legislature is looking at surprise, legislating free speech on the internet. Basically, the government has said that social media platforms have been warned to curb harmful posts and stuff that's not good for the users, and they haven't done anything. So now it's the lawmakers' turn to legislate this. You see it everywhere now. You just see the internet, more and more laws and regulations being passed like this. And so this law would make, it's kind of like the copyright law in the EU, except that it's about like criminal activity. So this would make platforms responsible for user posts, kind of like the same thrust as the law Austria has proposed that I talked about yesterday, where they just want to make people attach their mobile number to everything so that they're responsible for this kind of thing. Yeah, as you will not be surprised to hear, If you know me a little bit, I'm very skeptical of this kind of thing. Because I think it just leads to massive surveillance, and I just don't see the problem. I mean, there is harassment on the internet, but there's also harassment in real life, and I mean, it is a problem, but I think this is just over attacking the problem. This will have like all kinds of different consequences. As the register actually has a very nice analysis of this, and basically saying this was a matter of time, because basically what you're seeing here is tech platforms that were all founded in the US with the US sensibility of freedom of speech, and the EU or European countries, old European countries, traditionally not having that attitude towards freedom of speech, traditionally a lot more restrictive in curbing their citizens' rights to speech. And so they're basically saying that this was basically an inevitable reaction of old Europe towards this industry that grew up in the US. And I don't know, I guess in this field, I am more with the US sensibility of freedom of speech. I think we need more freedom of speech, not less. IKEA has announced, or has actually shown, 2 Sonos speakers that they will be selling. Symfonisk. The Symfonisk. Heise has looked at this, did a quick test here. Apparently they sound as good as the Sonos One, which is, I love those. I have 3 of those. They're great. There's one right here on my desk. And they have 2. A cheaper one, which is just a speaker, and then a bit more expensive one, which is a lamp. It's like a speaker with a lamp on top. As my wife said this morning when I showed her this, like, oh god, this lamp's ugly. And I was like, it kind of looks like any IKEA lamp. IKEA has this thing, I feel like, either they go through waves. There's stuff in there. Often, like, for a time, everything in there I really like almost all the stuff they have is like, I think it's really stylish. And then they go through a year or something, or a year and a half where like everything looks like crap, and then it looks good again. And I guess I'm feeling like this is the same for everybody, except that probably my highs of everybody, other people's, like, when they think it looks shit. Anyway, so this so the in Germany the Sonos Play 1 currently costs 160 euros. And the just normal speaker here from IKEA will be 100 euros, so quite a lot cheaper, 60 euros cheaper. And the lamp 180, so about the same price as the Sonos One. And apparently these sound just like just as good as the Sonos One. I'm just looking at pictures here. There's like an Ethernet jack on it, which is like Ethernet jack and a power cable. And I was just like, my brain was like, oh, my wife's not gonna buy this. This has 2 cables. I was like, can't they have like power over? I was wondering if power over Ethernet has enough power to like power an LED lamp as well. I guess it doesn't, but that would be cool if you just like, I mean, and nobody has power over Ethernet in their home, but like if you had a switch like and cabling. I mean, if you have cabling already, you can just make it power over Ethernet, I guess. that would be really nerdy. Anyway, this is me getting distracted with ideas I have. There is a PC apocalypse threatening in Berlin. Because on the 14th of January 2020, the extended support for Windows 7 will run out. Which means that they have to switch all their computers to Windows 10 in the city administration. And they have 2022 done. But they have 76,000 to go. I guess they won't make it. So 2.6%. So they started already. It doesn't really say here in this Golem story when they started. But yeah, that people are expecting this to be a major problem for Berlin. It's amazing to me that they're still on Windows 7. I mean, like, I know why, because I did support in schools for quite a while, and I mean their bureaucracy, it's like city, state level bureaucracy as well, and I know like this just takes ages, but it's like, why are you still on Windows 7? Like, either you'd have switched to Windows 10 like 2 years ago or something at least, right? Or you're going to Linux or something, right? Like, either that. But this is staying on Windows 7 is obviously not the answer, and will get you into problems as we will shortly see in Berlin, I guess, the beginning of next year. If nothing works over there, you know why. Speaking of Linux, Phoronix reporting that Fedora 31 will apparently start phasing out Python 2 only packages. I mean, this has been years where it's like, oh, you can install both, and I don't know if Fedora is actually one of the first distributions to completely phase out Python 2. I guess there would be, because they're so, on the cusp. But I mean, this can't come as a surprise for anybody. I just thought I should mention that because you might be running Fedora, and this might be interesting for you. And then you can just like prepare for in 5 to 10 years for this change to propagate to RHEL, and then it'll hit your workplace. So you if you're running like Python only stuff on like RHEL, you better start preparing now, just as not to be caught out like Berlin in a few years. In a new segment I want to introduce to this show, which I'm calling "Why the fuck is this news?" Pretty much anybody is in the tech news world, including the Register here, is reporting that you can now try Microsoft's Edge browser based on Chromium, and I'm like I've been thinking about this like for weeks now. Like, I was actually asked to write a story about like this, and I was like, why the fuck is this news? I mean, if you want to run a Chrome browser on Windows, you can run Chrome. If you don't like Google, you can run Chromium. You can run Brave. I mean, there's Opera is still around, I guess. I think that's based on Chromium. The problem here is not that there's not enough options to run like Chrome-based browsers on Windows, right? The problem is rather that now Firefox is the only browser with another browser engine, because everybody else uses like WebKit Chromium-based stuff. But yes, apparently this is now news. I don't know who is using Edge. That is the other thing. Like, who's using Edge? I mean, Edge is a pretty good PDF viewer. And as far as PDF viewers on Windows goes, gets quite regular updates because it has auto updating. So that's quite cool. But yeah, I don't know. Speaking of browsers, speaking of Chrome, Golem reporting here that Chrome is introducing lazy loading into the browser. So if you do a bit of web development, you will probably know lazy loading. Lazy loading is like a technique where usually, it used to be a website loads everything at once. You load the website and it loads all the stuff on the site. Now, if you have a new site, like with lots of images and lots of content run down the page, you don't want to do this because it slows down like loading times, right? Because you have a lot of stuff, and if you load it all in one go, it'll take time, right? So there has been this technique that web developers could use using JavaScript and CSS to make images load only when you encounter them in the page. So it would load like on this page on Golem, it would load everything I'm seeing now when I load the page, and then when I scroll down and there's no other images here now, but if there were other images in the text, it would just pop these in. It'll load them as soon as it detects me scrolling towards it, and which is generally a good idea, but you had to like code that into your site. And Chrome apparently has now built this into like a testing version, just as standard, like on the browser, so you don't have to do it as a web developer anymore. Which is, this is how stuff often happens, like in the browser space. Is like people do this on their own on websites, and then it's like or like in add-ons, like Flash autoplay blocking, right? And then it gets introduced into the browser, which is cool. So they wanna, apparently it's working, and they want to introduce this with version 75, which is coming out in June, and you can already test it in the developer version in case you do any web development and want to see how that works. I guess that's cool. It's cool. Lazy loading in the browser. I got some, so that's pretty much all the hard, like all the real techniques. I got some, a few what the fuck stories at the end here today. Actually, yesterday was quite a slow news day, and today even it hasn't happened anything yet. So maybe I'm too early with this show for stuff to happen today, but I'll update you tomorrow on that. The Register is reporting here that I think this is Springer Nature. They have used an AI to create a research overview paper on lithium-ion batteries. So this is like a paper that collates research on, what's it? I think they're saying more than 150 research papers on lithium-ion batteries. And it is, as you would predict, it's horrible. So it has sentences like, numerous researchers on CuO graphene composites utilized as Li-ion batteries anode have been indicated, or improved electrochemical properties than the pristine CO nanorods were shown by the composite electrode. The what now? So the preface to this book is it's free, so you can download it. It's like a PDF. Is from a guy called Henning Schöneberger from Springer Nature. I think this is Springer is doing this because they just want to get rid of all editors, and probably also of like researchers. They just want to get like make more money with less people. So they want to have AI edit it, but like as other people are pointing out in the story, as researchers point out, this is like a very easy task. I just also love. Sorry, I was distracted again. I was thinking, oh, the Register's page is broken, but their headline is actually H2 title: Hot new AI threatens to destroy web journals. And I think this is on purpose, either their page, but like that being the Register, that this could be completely on purpose. So I don't know. I don't see AI writing research papers yet. That will be some time to come. In another what the fuck story, apparently a new Windows 10 Insider build includes the ability to, shock horror, just pull out USB sticks without safely removing them. So, I don't know, what's it, 25, 30 years of people just pulling out USB sticks and Windows complaining. And finally, Microsoft has cottoned onto the fact that that's what people do. So we should just enable them to pull out the USB sticks immediately. So, I mean, the reason why you couldn't pull them out is because to improve performance, Windows was I think buffering the writing because the writing to the stick takes quite a long time, and USB takes CPU power. So if you're doing quite a lot. So if you're doing other stuff, it would just like hold on to, okay, let's write this to the, if you're writing big files or a lot of small files to the stick, it'll just go, wait, I'll do that when the PC is less busy, which just means that like a file might not have been completely written to the stick when you pull it out, and then it breaks the file or possibly the file system. But people have been pulling these things out anyway. Usually the same people that do not have backups, and then come running to people like me. It's like, oh, I brought this to USB stick and I deleted it off the desktop, and now it's not on the USB stick either. And now my file is gone and my dissertation is gone. What shall I do? You all know. You lots of people listening to this watching this will probably be nerds. You know what I'm talking about. If you're either working in IT support or are the designated support guy at your work or family, you know what I'm talking about. But Windows is fixing this now. Just took him about 25 years to figure this out. Yeah. I mean, as Golem points out, this harkens back to a time where drives had to be physically ejected. That's why it says eject, and then you can expect the USB stick to pop out, but it doesn't. That would have actually been a good feature, have a little motorized thing that just pops your USB stick out. Now that would have been cool. I would have been down with that. In another what the fuck story, two Chinese exchange students in the US are facing time in jail because they are in court for fraud because apparently they sent fake iPhones into Apple saying these are broken, and then got real iPhones back as an exchange device, and then sold those. And apparently they made $900,000 with this, and nobody really realized, except like these were like so apparently they got the fake phones from kind of like associates in crime, I'm guessing. Sorry. I had to sneeze. I'm sorry. I think the pollen are starting up again. Give me a second. Gotta cure this with coffee. So yes, they were sent by I guess organized. I don't know, by people in China, and they were sent those fake phones, and then they're saying they didn't know they were fake. And so they have, one of the guys put in 3,069 repair requests with Apple, apparently, and Apple acted on 1,493. 1,493, yeah, amazing. Apparently, Apple technicians didn't have the time to recognize them as faked iPhones. I mean, you couldn't turn these things on. I mean, they weren't even like working phones, but they didn't notice because they didn't have the time to turn them on, and I don't know. And apparently Apple didn't realize. I mean, that they apparently realized this because the post office intercepted iPhone shipments from China. They were like, why are these many iPhones being shipped around here? And now these guys are facing court in Oregon. Interesting. What a scam. I told this at breakfast to my wife, and she's like, they shouldn't be going to jail. They should get a medal for just being inventive. And I kind of feel like the same way. I kind of feel like this is I mean, if this isn't the American dream, especially in Trump's America, I don't know what is. Okay, sorry, I gotta blow my nose here. Damn it. Yes, so and more coffee. That's pretty much it. I have one more story, which is interesting gaming story I found on Eve Online. Eve Online always great with the stories, especially like the internal politics and stuff, and just like blending real life and gaming. And always good for if people say like, who plays video games. Like respecting people don't play video games, and Eve constantly proving the opposite, because there's a story on Rock Paper Shotgun about a guy called Brian Schoeneman. He is a U.S. politician, a U.S. maritime law lobbyist apparently, who is playing a character in Eve Online, has been since 2006 I think, called Brisk Rubal. And he ran for CSM, which is like the player council, Council of Stellar Management, which is like players that interact directly with the developers of Eve Online, and they get to they get to tell the developers what players want in the game, and they have to sign NDAs and stuff for this. And this guy apparently used insider information he got from being on the CSM and told that to people, I guess people in his alliance or his company in game. And they could make money, basically in-game money from this information. And which is, I guess, in-game corruption. And CCP, the makers of EVE Online, have banned him now. He's saying he is innocent. And this is all not true. He has a great, on this Rock Paper Shotgun piece, they have the video he made to get elected to CSM, which is like his campaign video. And it's amazingly well produced. I mean, the guy's a politician, and he basically, I think, produced this like he would produce any other like election, candidate video. He has like video from him being like on MSNBC with Maddow and stuff like that. And it's pretty good. It's pretty fun as well. Like he isn't bad. He has like videos from like him streaming stuff with his corp, and then he has like video of him playing, and he's like in front of the Supreme Court. He's like dissing the judges or something. It's really funny. It's because some guys, I guess, with his kid, where he's teaching his kid how to play Eve. It's just hilarious. Also, just the way like constantly Eve Online like mixes with reality. Like there was this time when like in that attack on the U.S. consulate, what was that in somewhere in Africa? Can't remember. Anyway, some of the consulate staff were killed, and one of them was a very well-known EVE Online player. And he was like, so he was basically a spy in real life, and he was a spy in EVE Online as well. And this guy's like a politician in real life, and he, I guess, it makes sense. You use your the skills that you have anyway, and use them in EVE. I would probably be a journalist in EVE, and I wouldn't make much money, just like in real life. Anyway, that's it for today. I just thought that was a great story, and as you can see, there's not that much happening today. But I don't know. We'll see. It'll pick up again, and I'll be back tomorrow with some more tech news. I got some stuff to do. I hope you have a great day. I'll have to go fix my Viper up now. Do some do some repairs, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, and just don't pull out your USB sticks yet. You still need to safely eject them. I will tell you on the show when it's safe to pull your USB sticks. Until then, Galactica Actual out.